To start your FS110 with a loop handle, follow these simple steps. First, hold down the throttle trigger lockout and squeeze the throttle trigger. While holding the throttle trigger, move the slide control to the start position and hold it there. Then release the throttle trigger and then the slide control. The slide control will remain in the start position and the throttle trigger will be in a partially open or running position. This is your starting throttle position. Next, set the choke to the cold start or closed position. If your engine is warm or has recently been run, set the choke to the open or run position to start the unit. Ours has not been run, so we will begin in the cold start or closed choke position. Now depress the fuel pump bulb at least 5 times, even if the bulb already appears to have fuel in it. In the proper position and with a sturdy grip, pull on the starter rope until you feel it engage. Then, give it a brisk, strong pull. Do this until either the engine tries to fire within 5 pulls, or if you have attempted 5 pulls and the engine does not try to fire. In either case, do not pull on the rope more than 5 times. At this point, move the choke to the open or run position. If you don't, you may very well flood the engine. Then, with the choke properly set, continue to crank the engine until it starts. Once the engine is running, squeeze the throttle trigger and the slide control will move to the normal run position and the engine will settle down to idle speed.
In the center of the trimmer head there is a round knob that protrudes out. It's spring-loaded, and with the trimmer running, this is what you tap to advance more trimmer line. On this trimmer head there are tabs on each side of the trimmer head, and so with my screwdriver I will push the tabs in, and that way I can release the cover on the trimmer head. With the trimmer cover off, what I will do next is pull the spool that holds the trimmer line up and out of the trimmer head. Now that I have the spool out, what I can do next is add new trimmer line. If you look at the bottom of the spool closely, there are arrows stamped in to the body. This is probably the most important thing to remember when installing the trimmer line, is to wind it in the direction of the arrows. If you don't, then when you tap the trimmer head, the line won't feed out correctly. For trimmer line, what I did was I bought a spool of line when I bought the trimmer 7 or 8 years ago, and as you can see, I still have a lot of trimmer line left. What I like to do is pull off 10 or 12 feet of trimmer line, and the only thing I watch is that I try and get both lines that I pull off about the same length. This much line on my trimmer usually lasts me most of the mowing season. After I have 2 equal lengths of trimmer line cut, the next step is to go ahead and add the line to the spool. Notice that on the upper part of this spool there is a hole that has been molded into the spool. This is where I will begin by shoving the trimmer line into it. And once I have the trimmer line shoved into the hole, I will begin winding the trimmer line in the direction of the arrows. One of the reasons I cut my trimmer line 10 to 12 feet is that on this spool I don't want to try and add more line than what the spool will hold. Another thing I try and do is, as I'm winding, I try and get the trimmer line to space evenly across the width of the spool, and this way it doesn't bind up when I tap the head to feed the line. Okay, almost half done. And on this particular spool, I always wind the top half first because there's a little slot that's been cut into the spool, and once I'm done I just snap the line into that little slot, and it holds it while I'm doing the bottom half. On the bottom half it's the same process. I push the line into the little hole, and then I wind in the direction of the arrow. And once I get all of the trimmer line in the bottom half, it's time to put the spool back in the trimmer head. Notice that in the bottom of the trimmer head there are little tabs that poke out. And notice also that on the spool there are little tabs that poke out. This is important because the spool is spring loaded, and so what I want to do is push the spool down into the body far enough that I can take one of those little tabs and push it under the tab that's in the trimmer head. Notice how it holds it in place. This way I can go ahead and line up the line with the slots coming out of the trimmer head, and the spool is held in place with those tabs. Notice that I have the trimmer line feeding out one side of the trimmer head from one half of the spool, and what I'm doing here is taking the line from the other half of the spool that was locked into that little slot and aligning it with the other side of the trimmer. The last step is to take the cover plate and snap it back into place. Once you get it aligned correctly, it will just snap into place. Okay, there's one last thing I want to do before I go to trimming it, and that's to grease the bearing that's in the bottom of this trimmer head. So after removing this little grease plug, what I will do is take my grease gun and apply a couple pumps of grease, and this should keep the bearing in good shape. I usually do this a couple times a year. Here I'm reinserting the grease plug, and after that's done, it's time to see if everything works. To advance the line, what I will do is get the trimmer head spinning, and then as it's spinning, I will go ahead and tap the little knob that pokes out of the center of the trimmer head. And this is what advances the line. So as you can see, it did advance the line, so everything's working correctly. So just to review one more time, I want to tap the trimmer head while it's spinning on something solid like concrete, because this will push the plunger up, and that way the trimmer head can advance the line. That concludes this video on how to replace trimmer line.
Hey everybody, Mark Thomas here, and welcome to my home outdoors channel. Today I'm going to show you, this is a follow-up video. I have a steel line trimmer, and for the purpose of this video, let's say I'm out trimming my yard and I go to tap to get more line, and then it just completely runs out. So what do? I go and grab a full head of line, and let me set this down a minute. Alright, so I got my new one ready to go. And I will show you how quick and easy it is to change these out and then get back to business. Stay tuned and I'll show you the rest of the steps. Alright, step one, put your line trimmer head on a nice work surface. I like the tailgate of my truck, works pretty awesome. And here's my replacement head all ready to go. And just find a nail. Here I just have a kind of a larger trim nail. And on this side right here, you'll find a little hole. And you put the nail in the hole and just start spinning that counterclockwise right there. I felt the nail push down and lock, like I'll show you again. There, it locked. And now just spin this counterclockwise. And you'll see, I usually use my hand to hold that on there. But let's just pretend this one's empty. Here's the new one. Put that plate back on there. Spin it clockwise, put the nail in, and just a nice snug. You really don't have to hardly tighten it that much at all. And that's it, and you're ready to roll. Alright, so that's it. Here we go. It changed out in probably like 20 seconds. That's awesome. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. I would appreciate some comments or thumbs up. That would be awesome. It would make my day. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.
If your FS38 is flooded, do the following to start the engine. Move the stop switch to the off position. Set the choke lever in the open position. Press down on the throttle trigger lockout, squeeze the throttle trigger, and engage the catch on the tongue with the housing. This puts the trigger in the starting position. Remove the spark plug according to the instruction manual and dry it off. Next, crank the engine several times to clear the combustion chamber. Refit the spark plug according to the instruction manual. Move the stop switch to on, and then start the engine.